We're not gonna do we're not gonna do a BRB just yet because I have a little something that I'd like to do. Vinny, you can cheese the PC version. So how much can you cheese it? Like how much of that game can you play? You can hack it to disable the timer. I mean, just how much is there in the game though? Up until Marvin calls you back. Okay, so you get a little bit more. You were right before the end anyway. Fair enough. Okay. I'll be with you in just a second. Almost ready. Okay, here's a super professional feature that I've devised that took all of 20 minutes to do. And we're going to be talking about some of my favorite games of 2018. I'm not doing a best of. I'm going to do instead just games I liked. Stuff that I liked and maybe some stuff that I didn't like as much in no particular order. Galgun 2 was obviously my favorite, but unfortunately did not make the list. That's really sad. Yeah, so we're not doing like a top 10 list this year. We're just going to do games I liked and why. And I have a couple games here that almost didn't make it because they're indies that came out in early access last year or the year before, but they came out officially on, one console or another this year. But we'll get to them in a bit. So without like having a specific order, let's start with hey, here's a game that maybe some of you remember. I streamed it. Into the Breach. Into the Breach was a game that I played a lot of and people were getting sick of it. That's how you know I'm into a game. Into the Breach ended up being a game that was kind of more short-lived than FTL, but I really loved it, and I think it was worth mentioning for this list because it's a good strategy game. You can play it in short doses, and it made a bit of an impression, and you can grapple the Leaper. FTL is a better game for me, but Into the Breach still managed to do a really good job. And then you have, let's talk about Spyro. As someone who wasn't a Spyro fan previously, I just hadn't played the series, playing Spyro Reignited kind of opened my eyes to the whole Spyro thing, and it turns out it's a really fucking good game. At some point, I'm going to play the other games, or at least one of the other games in the trilogy. But the one I played was Spyro 1, and that was enough to put it on the list. It brought back some good memories. It brought back a nostalgia for a game I didn't have, and it ended up just being a really fun playthrough. Nice visuals, Stuart Copeland music. Some of the levels got a little bit assy. I didn't love some of the Spyro 1 levels, but I like most of them. The bosses are a little lame in Spyro 1, but if people are saying that it gets better, then that's exciting. However, on its own, Spyro was good, and I'm glad I got a chance to finally play the series. And I just like collecting things. I don't know. Platformers from the 90s bring me to a place of like this weird like compulsion that I never knew I had. Good game. Kirby Star Allies I'm putting on the list. Again, totally random order. But Kirby Star Allies ended up being a really good game. It started as a good game. It got better. It's not one of my favorites of the year overall, like in terms of some of the other stuff on this list. But I wanted to include it here because I had a lot of fun with it, and they just kept updating it and adding more and more stuff. The most recent DLC added more characters and a harder challenge mode with some new levels, and I thought it was awesome. Really not, it's a game that it's hard to talk about in that sense because it started out with so much less, and now there's so much more. I think I could recommend this to people that have a Switch. If you're into Kirby, it's a good one. It's not as good as Planet Robobot, but there's some good mechanics. It can get a little too hectic when you have 4 people on the screen, so that's why I recommend one ally. But the powers are good, even though it can be beaten fairly easily. I think it's still worth it. I know Nintendo doesn't like to drop the prices of their games, but if they ever did, Kirby would be a good pickup, like for a sale. Like $30. $30. Dusk. I didn't play all of this game, but I played a lot of levels from each chapter. And Dusk made an impression on me. I may end up streaming more Dusk. But Dusk ended up being a callback to Quake and Doom, Duke Nukem, Blood. Some of the levels were really fucking surreal, and some of them were a little bit more grounded. But I think the strength of the game was its level design and how it like struck a nice balance between, like, say, the weirdness of Quake and some of the story telling elements of like some of the stuff that came after that. Overall, it's a game that you just fight. Infinite. You fight and shoot. The gunplay feels really good. The game itself feels really good. It's a first-person shooter that was totally worth existing, and it brings me to this place of like, well, we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater when we make new iterations of old genres. Like, first-person shooters can still be viable and still be good if you go back to how they were, say, 20 years ago. Just do it right. And Dusk did it right. I wish there was a couple more weapons. The selection of weapons gets a little bit... They feel good. The weapons are good, but it gets a little bland at times. Like, I don't really like the mortar launcher. And the enemies are pretty memorable. And it leans into some of the horror stuff it does really well. Just a good game. I'd recommend it. I didn't finish it, but I played a lot of it. And I will probably play more of it on stream. Good game. So, Monster Hunter World, I couldn't pick my favorite game of the year, but this one might be close. That was earlier in the... What's wrong with the box art? This was a game that came out earlier in the year, and it kind of... it launched an obsession for a while. And I stopped playing it because I have the PS4 version, and I just got bored of it before the DLC came out. And really, Monster Hunter is a tough series for me anyway, because I get like 80, 90 hours in, and then I'm usually good. That happened with this. But those 80, 90 hours were fucking amazing. I like the quality of life improvements. There's people that aren't going to like them. I liked them. Now, you take that, you combine that with more stuff, and you have an amazing Monster Hunter. So I would say that this is a good one for first-time Monster Hunters. I would say it's a good game for people that are looking for something a little bit more difficult, like maybe Bloodborne. But for the people who are really hardcore into Monster Hunter, yeah, I mean, I can see reasons to complain, but I still loved it. It's gorgeous, and it's just a really fucking good game. That said, if there's a way to transfer at some point the PS4 data to the PC version, I will eventually probably do that, and then do all of the stuff that I missed. And hopefully, if G Rank ever comes to it, maybe I'll play that. So I don't know if I'm done with Monster Hunter World, and I loved it. But it's a game that maybe isn't for everyone, but it was for me. Hey, check this out. This is the game that pulled me away from my Monster Hunter addiction. For some people, it's Slay the Sleeper. But for me, this is one of the best indie games I played all year. And it's one of my favorite indie games of all time at this point. I couldn't believe it. If you've watched my streams, you know I don't play card games. Card games are cool, I guess. I've played a couple. I don't love them. I don't seek them out. Slay the Spire comes along. I'm like, what's this game? People seem to like it. I check it out. And now suddenly I'm playing less and less Monster Hunter World, and I'm playing more and more Slay the Spire. Between that and all the advancements the game has had over the past 9 months, up until the new mod support with new characters like the slime, etc., this is one of the most addictive and complete packages that I think is available, and you can play this game forever and find new combinations. Easy to get into, a little bit. I think, some Ironclad's an easy character to start with, and you can figure out the mechanics relatively quickly. But figuring out how to make interesting decks, like the big block deck, man, it's so satisfying. So, man, I don't know. This might be one of my top games of the year. Now, keep in mind, there are games that I haven't played, like Celeste. Didn't play that. I didn't play Spider-Man. I didn't play God of War. So I can't speak for those games. I can only play so many games in a lifetime. So if there's a game that you thought was like a best of the year that isn't on this list, it's probably because I haven't played it. So, speaking of Capcom from before, Mega Man 11 came out, and it was good. I hesitated to put this on my best of list, but I really enjoyed it. It was a good mix of old and new, mostly old, and it brought back some memories, but also gave me hope for maybe the future of the series, maybe a Mega Man X game like this. I thought that it played fast, good controls, good powers, some good bosses, enemies had personality. Mighty Number 9 wasn't the most popular game. I know we were looking forward to it at first, and some people wanted that, and that didn't happen. And then somehow, some weird twist of fate, Capcom delivers a pretty damn good Mega Man game. This wouldn't be at the very top of my list if I did a top 10, but I thought it was good enough to bring up. I liked it. I just like Mega Man, though, So, how about this one? WarioWare Gold. This is the best WarioWare game yet, I think. It's got a little bit of everything from the other games. It's got new stuff. It's got Hado-chan. It's got cutscenes that you can speak over. This is one of my most popular games that I streamed all year. I had fun with it. It was very frustrating at times, but more than anything, this is just a concentrated dose of fun. WarioWare is an excellent series that I just want to see as much as possible. And since it's been a while since we got one, this was a good one. And I have to recommend it for them cheeseburgers alone. But the game itself is great. Good for newcomers. I hope that Nintendo then makes a WarioWare on the Switch at some point. And some people, by the way, I think would probably argue that WarioWare Twisted is better than this. And I haven't played it in a while, but that was a good one. So, however, great game. Like, you knew this was going to show up. I love it. I love it. I love Smash Brothers. And this is a good one. That's about it. It's a good game. I like it. I play it. I played it yesterday for 3 hours outside of streaming it for 2 hours. And I'm not sick of it. World of Light is pretty good. Maybe Subspace is a little bit better. But it's made for a good stream. And for people that are really into Project M and Melee, you might find something to like here. And maybe that was their intent. It feels a little faster than Smash 4 even. But I love it. Love the new characters. I love the improvements to the old characters. And I just have a lot of fun with it. I think that this game, with its characters coming out next year, or rather this year, is going to keep me going for a while. I can see this being a mainstay of my Switch. Smash, though, isn't for everyone. And so I can already tell you that there are people that are going to play Smash for the first time because they got a Switch, because it's a big console now, and they got it for Christmas, and they're just not going to get into it. But it works. You throw items on, you can go on a wacky level, pick a wacky character, and you can have fun with it. It's accessible, but if you get good at it and you find someone that has an equal skill level, some of those 1v1s are addictive. I'm going to throw Red Dead 2 up here as well because I spent 80 hours playing it on stream. And so, you know, I feel like I talked so much about it. Listen, I talked a lot about this game, but it sticks with me. I think about Dutch, I think about his voice, I think about Arthur quite a bit. I did like the shooting in the game. There were times where I got some good kills and I had fun with that. You know I've been outspoken about this game's issues. It does feel like a 2006 game sometimes in the shell of a beautiful open world. Some of the missions were like, just get these over with already. But the world, the open world shit is great. The characters are amazing. The voice acting is amazing. The presentation's amazing. The music is amazing. I think it's going to be a little polarizing for people, and this is not my favorite game of the year, but it is a huge game, and it's something that I completed, and I felt good about. I was like, I did it, and I felt like I got a complete single-player experience that I could have easily spent another 20 hours just wandering around. I'm glad I didn't because I was done with it by the time I was done with it, but every rose has its thorn, just like every cowboy sings a sad, sad song. I want to say for a moment, rest in peace, all the horses that served me well. You were good companions, and I'm sorry that you had to die so fucking mercilessly. At my hands, or at the hands of raiders, or at the hands of a campfire. glad it happened. Glad I played it. And then here's another one, Soul Calibur 6. I played a lot of Soul Calibur 6 just by, the Twitch stats alone. There's that website that tells you the I think it's Twitch tracker, and you can see which games are your most played on stream. And this was up there. I had a lot of fun with the character creator, but more so than that, Soul Calibur is just a great fighting game. I love it. Playing matches against the community online was great. There's a lot of meme characters, but even so, just learning the game's mechanics, learning the characters, having the fucking crazy ring outs, it was all good. I mean, it came out at a time where everything else was coming out, so I didn't play it as much as I maybe would have if there was like more time. But it's still one of my most played games of the year. We talked about this previously, but I can tell you that my most played games of 2018, Red Dead Redemption 2 with 3 days, 6 hours, Slay the Spire with a day, 12 hours. These are the games that I've, already covered. Smash Ultimate, 1 day, 5 hours. Monster Hunter World, 20 hours. Kirby, 20, believe it or not. Got 20 hours out of Kirby. 20 hours out of Soul Calibur 6, not 5, 6. So, there's a lot of stuff on there. So that's my list. And I just want to say, again, Soul Calibur, really quick. Maybe it's the best of the series, maybe not. I am not that big. I like Soul Calibur, but I'm not the biggest fan to the point where I could tell you every minute detail and change. I can just say that I really liked it. Now, there's a couple other things. Before we wrap this up, I have a couple of honorable mentions, and I have some games that I really couldn't fit into a category. I'll give you an example. There's an example of a game, for example, that came out in a previous year, but I only played it this year because it came out on the Switch. So technically it makes my list because it came out this year on something. And it's Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight was awesome. This is another game I put a lot of time into. And I don't actually have that. For some reason, Hollow Knight's not showing up on this list of games I streamed. I don't know why, but I seem to recall Hollow Knight being one of my top played games of the year. So, this game is fucking great. It's a Metroidvania. I got lost. I was terrible at it at times, but it's both challenging, extremely... 32.8 hours. So there you go. It's a long game, but it's got some good characters. It's got everything that you do to make your character more powerful. You're just like, oh, I want the next one. Because they're all, or more or less, they're all pretty great. The world itself is engaging. Some people don't like the art style. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot. Some just really good moments that happen in that game. You know I'm a weird dude, so I'll criticize a game for being too long. I feel like this game was a couple hours too long, but regardless, one of the best indie games I've ever played, and I can't recommend it enough. So, and then you have this, which I think this made my list last year, but I'm throwing it in here again because I played a lot of it. This is one of the best indie games ever made too, between this and Hollow Knight, but for different reasons. Dead Cells is still one of the most fluid, fast action combat games I've played in a long time. It kind of has a Metroidvania thing going, but not really. I think it's a little bit like that, or it seems like that. But for those that are uninitiated, randomly generated levels, much more like Binding of Isaac in that sense, where you just continue to do runs and make progress and unlock new things. I love the way this game feels. It came out on the Switch this year, so I'm putting it on the list because I played a lot of the Switch version. I probably played more of the Switch version than I did the PC version. Possibly. I don't know. But Dead Cells makes the list. Subnautica, it's here again. This is a tough one, but I had to mention it because this is a game that I streamed for 34.1 hours in 2018. Subnautica is a fucking amazing game that it's, again, one of my most popular streams, so people that have been here for a while, you know the deal. Underwater exploration game. Elmo would be pleased. This game is engrossing. The building elements are both simple, but yet you can do a lot with it. Finding new stuff is great. There's a little bit of a story here that when they released it... See, I played the previous versions, the alphas and the early access and stuff, and it was cool, but it wasn't really brought together by a whole lot. The finished product, there's a bit of a story. There's a thread. It gets really weird. It gets interesting. There's some alien stuff. And it's great. It's just a great fucking game. It's like kind of... It's one of those rare games that I'll remember forever. It's cheesy as fuck, but it's true. And also there's an expansion coming out. There's like a snowy expansion, an Arctic expansion. I will be streaming that when that comes out. So even though I've played Subnautica for a couple years in various forms, it's on the list because it was released this year. So then you have, other games like Vinny. Someone said, Vinny, what about Mario and Luigi? I played Mario and Luigi. It was my first time playing it. And that didn't come out this year. It kind of did. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga came out this year on 3DS as a remake. I didn't play that version. So I can't really... I'll say this. I love the game. So... Now, I have a couple more. These are games that I would say almost made my list. So I'm going to call these almost. The Messenger. So much potential. I really loved the first half of this game, and the second half was a slog. When there were new levels, it was still great. But This is like the Shovel Knight of this year in some ways, and it's a good retro platformer. And it's action focused and ninjas, good boss fights. But when it turned into a Metroidvania, which is a genre I really like, you know, it just didn't do it for me. So that's unfortunate, but overall, I'd still say it's a good game, and some people probably would like it better than I did. So not bad. You know, it's fine. I didn't love it when I first streamed it. I played more of it. It's fine. It's not on the list. I'm looking more forward to Pokemon this year. I'm very indifferent about the game. I haven't played it in a while. But it's fine. Fine's not good enough. I don't know about Crash. Vinny, this almost made your list. This, yeah, we're different people. Remember, seems I think Pokemon is not Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee were not the deepest games, but it's something that I wanted to mention because it's not terrible. It could have probably just left it off the list and people would have bitched that it wasn't on there, but honestly that's how I felt about it. This I liked better than Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee. Remember, these aren't like ratings. This is just why is it not on the main list? And for me, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, it's a really good game. It's a really good remake. I don't think I like Crash Bandicoot overall. I get so frustrated. When I streamed this, I was like, oh, this is great. And then I played it more on my own, and I was just dying over and over and over again. And some of the fucking weird, like, jump mechanics and hitboxes, more hitboxes, like, no, maybe that's not what I'm looking for, but jumps that I thought I was going to make, that I didn't make. Frustrating. So, for people who are into Crash Bandicoot, this might be one of the best games of the year. I'm looking forward to Crash Team Racing this year. But ultimately, I'd say that Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is good, but it didn't keep my attention enough to play all of it. People are saying there's input lag in that game, too. Super Mario Party. Why is Mario's mustache a different color than his hair? What is this? That's why it didn't make the list. It's a good game for Mario Party. It might be one of the best Mario Parties, and it's a step in the right direction. And I did enjoy it. It needs more boards. It needs more stuff. And I still haven't heard anything about there being an update to it. If you're looking for something for a party, it's good. I just don't know if it's going to keep people's attention for as long as maybe some of the older games. Maybe. For me, not so much. Good game. Decent game. You know. Pretty good. And then Mario Tennis Aces. I didn't mind the single player of this. I know the game is much better now. It's not on my favorite games of the year list because it just didn't do a whole lot for me. I'm more of a Mario Golf guy, so I'm waiting for that. But Mario Tennis was pretty fun. Realizing how deep some of the mechanics got was fun. Fighting that blooper made me want to burst and nurse. There were conniptions, there was anger, but I persevered, and that felt good. It is a really well-designed game, and people who are into tennis probably like it more than me. I thought it was just, again, like in the same kind of boat as Mario Party. Mario Party might have been a little bit better, but I liked it. Yeah, I didn't hate it. A couple other quick things. I forgot to include something on my list of games I loved this year, or games that I really liked, and I'm going to do a quick amendment to that list right now. Haven't played Katamari ever, aside from just a couple times quickly. This is my first Katamari full game, and I loved it. It was great. Short, but sweet, and it made me want to check out the rest of the series. So, I'm sorry, Katamari, I left you off my list, but you deserve to be up there. So there you go. Couple other quick things I want to say is the Splatoon Octoling expansion was a lot of fun, and that's something I would recommend. Hard, but definitely good. Though I wouldn't include it as a picture, and I didn't think to because it's a DLC. So yeah, that was good. Any other DLCs like that came out this year? That's cool. People wanted me to mention Tingle. Tingle didn't come out this year. I just played it, so I can't really put that on the list. Bloodborne I played. I love that. Didn't come out this year. So, you know, that's how the cookie crumbles. Skyrim came out last year. And I played a lot of it, but mainly for the glitches. So that's my list of games. Well, Skyrim does come out every year. Good point. Someone in chat just said that. I mean, I could mention the No Man's Sky update, and I know that we could just say no man, no buy. No man's buy. But it was a good update. They finally made the game kind of worth investigating. So I give them props for getting me into the game for a couple hours. Turns out I streamed it for like 22 hours. I couldn't even fucking believe I streamed it that much. Oh wait, no, it says here 9.3 hours. Sorry. I was reading the statistics incorrectly. Just for that one though. Still pretty good. There's a lot in there. But yeah, they became a comeback story of here's a shit game that didn't deliver on its promises, so we're going to support it and give you a game that you can play. And they did it. So, you know, hats off, I guess. It's better than taking the money and running. I want to just mention, so that's it. That's the stuff that I would say. If it didn't make my list, it doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. It just means it didn't make my list. And again, I'm sure these lists, everyone will agree with me 100%. There will be no strife. Everyone will be respectful of each other and each other's opinions. Of course, I've been around the block long enough to know that that's how everyone acts whenever you have a list like this. Of course. And there's plenty of games I didn't play. I didn't play Dad of War. I didn't play Spider-Man. And I know that those are supposed to be very good games. So, you know, hey, real quick. 2019. You know what I'm looking forward to if you watch the stream. But Resident Evil 2 Remake. I just played the demo tonight. It's good. Can't wait for it. Animal Crossing. I hope that is this year, and I hope that doesn't get delayed. Luigi's Mansion 3. I'm looking forward to Spelunky 2. Noita. Look it up. Noita. Looks awesome. I'm looking forward to Metroid Prime 4, which I don't think will come out this year, but maybe next year. So, you know, that's hopefully this year. I'm looking forward to Yoshi game, Crafted World. I'm looking forward to Doom Eternal, probably almost more than any other thing on this list. Devil May Cry is not a series I have too much experience with, but I might check it out. I might investigate it because I played DMC3 a lot and I like that game. So yeah. But Risk of Rain 2 is supposed to come out this year. Hylics 2. I can't wait for Hylics 2. If you don't know what Hylics is, look it up. Check it out. Great indie game. I don't know if Risk of Rain 2 is going to be, because it's a 3D game. It looks like an entirely different game. Risk of Rain is a good indie game, side-scroller, if you haven't seen it. I really played a lot of that game, got really addicted to it, sucked at it for a long time, but finally came to terms with me sucking at it and just said to myself, I'm never going to be good at this. But Risk of Rain 2 is an entirely different direction. So let's hope that it delivers. Hopefully Space Kids 2 comes out. Bayonetta 3 would be a nice release. I would love if Bayonetta 3 makes it to 2018. Someone said Black Mesa Zen update. That's a game that, obviously I've played Black Mesa, I've streamed it, and when Zen comes out, it will be complete. So hopefully that will be something that I can play this year as well and enjoy. I say hopefully because Who the fuck knows if it will ever come out? Been waiting for so long. Someone said Mortal Kombat 11. Sure, maybe. Vinny, Mario, and Luigi remake. Bowser's Inside Story, maybe. Or the original. What's 2019? Which one's 2019? Sorry, I've been saying 2018 because it says that on the fucking screen here, and I'm sorry, I meant 2019. Sorry. Final Fantasy VII remake, I don't think will be out. I don't have any experience with the Kingdom Hearts series. Sekiro, I know is a huge one for a lot of people. I like the Bloodborne setting much more, but considering I love Bloodborne so much, I might actually check out Sekiro. So that's something that could be on my radar as well. Anyway, oh yeah, and the Pokemon game. We're supposed to get a legit, like, fully featured next evolution of Pokemon. Hint, it won't be what you want it to be. But I'm looking forward to it. And someone else said, what was it? Fuck. Burn Band would be nice, yeah, that's good. There was one other one. What was the one? Bloodstained. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is something that is having a bit of a development issue at the moment, so they had to get WayForward to help them, which WayForward, made Shantae. They're good. But Bloodstained is the Castlevania esque game that Igarashi's making, and Curse of the Moon came out last year. Hey, honorable mention to Curse of the Moon. I forgot about it, but that was legit. Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon, huge honorable mention to that. I fucking loved it, actually. So that might even have made my list had I remembered it. But Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, I hope is good. I hope it's as good as Symphony. I don't think it will be. I think it will probably be good, but I'm glad they're spending the time polishing it up, working on it, delaying it, and not just releasing a piece of shit. So thank God for that. So those are my hopes for 2019. 2018 was a good year for games. There was a lot that came out. Even for games that I haven't played, I know that there was a ton of things that people were playing, including stuff like Forza. I'm not into car racing, but apparently Forza was good for people who like cars. So everyone's happy, I hope, but we're all still not happy. And that's the 2018 list. Thank you for checking this feature out. I hope you enjoyed listening to me rant about games I liked. And I hope 2019 is a good year like this was, because 2018 brought us some good stuff. Someone said, what about movies? I didn't see a lot of movies this year. And I tell you what, I didn't listen to a lot of new music this year that came out this year. So I decided to forgo those lists. Maybe next year. Just games this year. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. Thanks again. Always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for listening. And we're going to take a quick break, and I will return with Mother 3. So stick around. Be right back.